Millions of people around the world are taking advantage of the home sharing economy offered by sites like Airbnb.com and VRBO.com. Today, we're going to talk just a little bit about Airbnb to help you decide if it's really right for you. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Airbnb Lifestyle Podcast, a show about renting your spare bedroom or entire house on Airbnb. We're your hosts, Joseph and Izzy. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and relax while we teach you how to live the Airbnb lifestyle. We're going to teach you how to live. We're going to teach you how to live the Airbnb lifestyle. We're going to teach you how to live. We're going to teach you how to live. We're going to teach you how to live the Airbnb lifestyle. That was good. That was good. Whew. Welcome to the Airbnb Lifestyle Podcast number 1. I'm Joseph, your Washington, D.C. Airbnb superhost. You can find the Airbnb Lifestyle at theairbnblifestyle.com and on Facebook at the Airbnb Lifestyle. And I'm very proud to say you'll be able to search the Airbnb Lifestyle on iTunes very soon once we get through with the qualification process. So keep looking. Today we're going to talk about 2 of my top 10 tips you should implement to operate a profitable and pleasurable Airbnb business. After all, if it isn't fun, why do it, right? If you've not heard about the Airbnb revolution, which is part of the sharing economy, just listen to some amazing facts about Airbnb. As of the latter part of 2016, there were roughly 2.3 million listings on Airbnb. There are currently an estimated 640,000 Airbnb hosts worldwide, with an average number of nightly stays somewhere around the 500,000 figure. Airbnb is active in nearly 57,000 cities. And get this, at last estimate, there were over 173,000 units active on Airbnb. Now, that doesn't just mean apartments. It means rooms. It means entire homes, RVs, campers. Absolutely most anything that you can live in can be found on Airbnb. Now, what does that mean for people like you who might be interested in starting your own Airbnb business? Well, if you ask me, it means the field is still wide open for anyone interested in starting their own Airbnb, renting your living accommodations, of which you probably already own. Now, I'm an Airbnb superhost in Washington, D.C., and I generate a fantastic side income. I get to make a positive impact on people's lives, and I meet interesting people from all over the world. Even if you're not a people person, or maybe you're even kind of a private person, you can still generate a substantial income with Airbnb. Let's get on to the first 2 of the top 10. So just please keep in mind, my top 10 list is based solely on my own experiences being an Airbnb superhost, and different people will have different experiences. So that's my disclaimer. Tip number 1, be loyal to your guest. I'll say it again. Be loyal to your guest. This is a big one for me, folks, and you'll see why. You'll notice that major hotel chains typically offer loyalty perks that keep the customer coming back for more. The hotels offer guests free nights, free meals, and free whatever to keep them as loyal and returning customers. Now, though the typical Airbnb host can't afford to offer free nights, myself included, and rarely will you have a guest return for a second stay during the same season. I think for me, I had 1 returning guest last year, but you can still apply this principle to your own Airbnb business to keep a happy and satisfied guest. After all, the payoff of a loyal guest will reflect when they check out and give you a great review. And if you get familiar with the whole Airbnb concept, you'll find it's positive reviews that allow your Airbnb business to blossom. Isn't that wonderful? The harder you work, the greater success will come to you if you value your customer and take care of your customer. Some of the ideas that I implement in my Airbnb to build guest loyalty they're really pretty simple. They're no-brainers. I spent $10 for 250 business cards, which feature a screenshot of my listing page on the front and my phone number on the back, along with a friendly statement expressing gratitude to the guests and telling them to feel free to call me day or night. I never had anyone call me at any weird or odd night or early morning hour. I've had a few guests, though, mention that they really appreciate it just knowing that I'm there. So once your guests know how invested you are in making their stay a great one, the chances increase that you'll find a positive review on your profile after they're long gone. Besides, good business is just good business, and the karmic payoff alone is worth it. Another thing I've done to build guest loyalty is to implement a 7-question survey, which I send them via email a few weeks after they've checked out. It's a quick and easy way to gain valuable feedback about my service and my Airbnb apartment. Plus, it's just one more way for me to stay on their radar because, let's face it, you never know who they might know that may be coming to my area needing housing. And if I made a positive impact on that guest, they're going to give me a glowing recommendation if they know someone coming to the Washington, D.C. area. They're going to say, hey, stay with Joe. He's great. He's fantastic. It was awesome. And I'll challenge you to look at my Airbnb listing, look at my reviews, look at my feedback. You can read the majority of the reviews and you can really tell that the guests really poured their heart into the review. So I really appreciate that. And you'll appreciate it too when your guests leave you amazing reviews. So another thing I do is pretty common among Airbnb hosts, but it's still extremely powerful. It does, however, require an investment of a couple of dollars. But if you're going to make money and touch people's lives being an Airbnb host, the payoff is worth it. And when I say a couple of dollars, I really mean a couple of, well, maybe a few dollars, maybe just a few. So what I do is I put out a tray with water, granola bars, maybe some coffee packs, tea, sweetener, cream. But I always include a handwritten welcome letter. You know, I could just print one as most hosts do, and there's no right way or wrong way. Like I said, this is my experience, this is what works for me. But I really do think it's more powerful, more personal, and makes a bigger impact on the guest. If my wife runs into one of those Bath and Body Works baskets, you know, the ones that they usually have cream, scented mists, maybe a candle, I don't know. If it's cheap enough, and typically they're $5 on clearance at Bed Bath & Beyond, I'll put that in the basket too if our next guest is female. And I always get great feedback on my gift baskets. So, well, I think it contributes. I think the gift baskets contribute to my great reviews and feedback. So you have to remember, most guests have been through the traveling ringer when they finally reach your home. And refreshments with water and a smile work wonders to help your business grow. Now, on a more spiritual note, some hosts say it contributes to greater overhead and thus cuts down on the actual income after expenses that you receive. I say treat people well, give them more than they expect, and the money will come. You know, money has energy attached to it, and the more you try to hold on to it, the less you have to hold on to. I'm not saying be frivolous. All I'm saying is money should be a concern, but not a driver. Treat the customer special, give them a good, clean place to live at a good rate, and the money will come. It always does, people. There's a ton of things you can do to build guest loyalty. Another thing I've implemented, and I'm glad I did, is personally welcoming the guest upon arrival. This is mandatory if you stay at my Airbnb. I don't care what time it is or what the weather's like. When you show up at my Airbnb, I'm there to greet you with a smile, ask if I can carry your bags, show you around the apartment, thank you for choosing my Airbnb, and really show you that I value your business. After all, they could have chosen any Airbnb, but they chose me, and I appreciate that. You can't believe how much of an impact this makes on your guests. Some guests are private. And they don't really want any personal attention. I'm still going to personally greet them, give them a smile, but I will respect their wishes and let them know that if there's anything they need, I'm still there for them. The whole welcoming the guest in person. Some people can do it, some people can't. I get it. Some people have to work. I'm retired military as of 2015, but I can do it. If you can do it, I highly recommend you do that because it's really impactful to the guest. To sum it all up, show your guests you appreciate them by being loyal during their stay. Now, this principle is lost, and this is sad. It's lost in today's business environment, but it's still a powerful tool to build a successful business. Now, remember, your guests can go anywhere. You're probably not the only Airbnb in the area, but they chose you. So remember, Value and respect your guests. They expect it and they deserve it. I kind of put it this way. Happy and satisfied guest equals great reviews equals business success equals good karma in return, which in the end equals financial blessings. Moving on to tip number 2. This is filed under practical steps that you can take today, right now, to reach your Airbnb goals. Go out and buy a digital lock for your Airbnb front door today. I can't be any more direct when it comes to ways to improve both you and your guests' quality of life during their stay. One of the biggest challenges facing Airbnb hosts is the whole check-in process thing. It can be really awful and awkward, or it can be really awesome and smooth. I prefer awesome and smooth, and so should you. Anything you can do to automate the process will make check-in painless and more than likely keep you from losing those precious minutes of sleep that we all love. If you're not familiar with the whole Airbnb ecosystem, when you list your apartment or accommodation on the site, you also have the ability to list your house rules and, how many number of people the place can accommodate and just all kinds of details about your listing. Unfortunately, most guests don't read the description. So plane lands and there was traffic on the way to your Airbnb. They show up at 11:30 p.m. or later. I had a few, by the way. They knock on your front door, jet lagged, maybe a little bit grumpy, and definitely needing some rest. You have to get out of your bed, put on your happy face, and in my case, since my Airbnb is in its own apartment, I have to go out in the rain, in the cold, the snow, or whatever. I don't really mind, but you might. If you had a digital lock on your Airbnb front door, all you'd have to do is text them the lock code to enter, and you go night-night. Back to sleep you go. As far as lost keys go, this removes that major headache from the equation. So you can change the code after they check out and program it for the next guest. This really beats giving out the same key to every guest and having to rekey the lock for security reasons. Expensive, a hassle, automation, wonderful. I purchased my lock from Lowe's for under $75. It was rated high for security and ease of use. And if you're tech challenged and think that programming is too difficult, well, my wife, Izzy, who was about the untechiest person around, programmed it on her first try in about 45 seconds. Now, it does take a little bit longer to install the lock. You really don't have to have a locksmith do it. You can really do it on your own. At least with my lock, the instructions were pretty simple. And I wasn't sure because I'm a big do-it-yourselfer, but it was really simple. So I imagine most of them are pretty simple if you have the tools. So seriously, this is the most practical and cheapest move you can make to automate your Airbnb. The guests will really appreciate it as well. Plus, this is kind of cool, it adds a high-tech twist that makes your listing stand out from all the other Airbnbs that utilize keys. This is the first 2 tips from my top 10 list on operating a profitable and pleasurable Airbnb. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to my channel and stay updated on future videos. You can visit my webpage where you can hear more podcasts and videos I produce. To see my Airbnb listing, visit the airbnblifestyle.com. You can also visit us on Facebook at the Airbnb Lifestyle. I'm Joseph, your Washington, D.C. Airbnb superhost. Take care of your guests, practice gratitude daily, and live the karmic life. And I'll see you at check-in.